It's day 4 of our exploration of Handel's Messiah. Welcome back. Handel's Messiah is an oratorio. A what? An oratorio is a larger scale musical presentation of a sacred story that uses techniques usually associated with staged music. Like opera, it started life in Italy about the same time as opera did, 1600 or so. Handel had encountered forms of oratorio in his native Germany, especially the Easter tradition there of telling the story of Jesus' passion in music. In fact, Handel had actually written a couple of oratorios during his 2 years in Rome as a young man. But English oratorio, there was no tradition for that. It was Handel who single-handedly established one. You see, Italian opera was going out of fashion in London. And so Handel started to programme biblical stories sung in English as part of his theatre programmes. First came Esther, then Deborah, then Athaliah. 1738 then saw a double success of Saul and Israel and Egypt. The public loved the way Handel blended music for stage and church. Listen to how one contemporary put it. He said, Mr. Handel happily introduced here oratorios, a musical drama whose subject must be scriptural and in which the solemnity of church music is agreeably united with the most pleasing airs of the stage. Well, as we'll discover, this could be controversial, as it was in the case of his best-known oratorio, Messiah. But for today, musically speaking, we are definitely in operatic mode. 2 musical items coming up, both settings of Isaiah's prophecy. The first is in that storytelling style from the opera called recitative. Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14, with a bit of an explanation from the gospel writer Matthew, is stated briefly, as if telling a story. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel, God with us. And of course that adds a vital detail about Messiah. So far the oratorio text has told us that Messiah will bring God's comforting and discomforting presence. But how? Through the birth of a son to a virgin. The child will be God in our midst. And so second, we will hear words from Isaiah chapters 40 and 60. They're a summons to alert God's people to the good news of Emmanuel's birth and to say to the people, behold your God. And the style here is far too flashy for the English church of the day. Just listen to the dancing violin lines. And notice that once the soloist has sung the tune, the choir responds too, as though they are the inhabitants of the cities of Judah awakening to the good news. Maybe you can try singing along too, because I expect you'll know the tune by then if you don't already. And if you believe that Jesus is God with us, what about you passing on that good news yourself, perhaps even today? A prayer. Father in heaven, we praise you for sending your Son to be born of the Virgin Mary. Give us eyes to behold him as God with us. Lighten our hearts with praise and joy, overcome all our fears, and send us into the rest of today with a song in our hearts. By the Spirit's power and in Emmanuel's name. Amen.